Okay, and you guys will actually have to, like, hear me out on this. I really want Evil J to be permanent, to be honest. Or, well, like, I guess not, like evil, but you know what I mean? Like, new J, like, with his new memories. I talked about this in my last stream, but I was, like, drunk and slurring my words and all that. So, like, let me better explain, like, kind of what I was getting at last time. And, like, look, they're probably not gonna go for that because your memories kind of, like, make up you in a way. You know what I mean? Like your experiences and everything. And so I feel like to a younger audience, they will actually like process that as a major character death. Like Jay from the old series is dead. Because in a way, I mean that's kind of true. But honestly, like I like the shakeup of the status quo. I like consequence. I don't like everything just being hunky dory and everything's all perfect and fine by the end of the season or the end of the series rather, because it's just not how life is. You know, it's like there's a lot of like nuances and it's like messy and complicated. Like if Jay like stays this way, like let's say that he ends up like finding his way back into all of the characteristics that he had before, like without gaining his memories, you know, like he becomes chatty and energetic and stuff, it would really like challenge the audience to think. It's the kind of thing where it's like, is a ship still the same ship if you replace each part of it? You know, that type of thing. Like, he may have to rediscover who he originally was, but like, is this still the same person? Because like, in a way it is, but in another way it's also not. You know? And like, will Nia still toss and turn at night, like missing the old Jay and like processing that grief? Will that grief like still like bother her throughout any like future adventures, you know? It may be just something that she has to like live with. Because like, I don't know, real life really like is that messy and complicated. Like, I don't know how to explain this, but like 2020, man, that was one hell of a year. And that kind of felt like my merge. Like, genuinely, in a way, my personal life, like, everything and everyone I've ever known has just been so different since 2020. In, like, very small ways, very big ways, indescribable ways. Just my entire world is completely changed. And sometimes it does, like, feel like a split timeline type thing. Or like I'm navigating this mess of worlds that once were, you know? It's like 2020 was my merge, and so a lot of people have been different. Like some people like some people have come around to like find themselves, like you know what I mean. Like they became who they were before, and all the stuff from 2020 was just kind of like a phase. But some are actually just like new people entirely, and like maybe they'll have the same memories before, but some of them literally don't. Like I've talked to people who say that they don't really remember that much from before 2020. Like, you know, even if, like, they have their memories or whatever, and they've changed, like, so much that they're not even the same person, but they still, like, physically, spiritually, in a way, I guess, are the same person. It is, like, kind of hard to, like, come to terms with that sometimes, and really get used to, like, those sort of changes. And because that's like something that I go through and something that people go through, I feel like that would be like really strong. Like there would be a lot of people like relating to that sort of thing. It would make for like a really good story. But like I said, they're probably not going to do it just because, oh, the kids watching may actually like process it as a death. But okay, if he does actually like find his memories again and all that, it better be like slow and gradual and over time and stuff. The only thing, okay, I actually had this idea where like, you know, what if Nauticon comes back in Dragon's Rising and is like challenging Ericor to like the throne of Ninjago or whatever, right? I was thinking maybe like the final wish for Nauticon of either Jay or Nia is to like restore Jay's memories, and that's the thing that does it. It brings everything in Skybound full circle using Nautica. Like, oh dude, that would hit so hard. I do, like, if he does get his memories back, which I don't really want, I do want it to be slow, But if it's not slow, if it really is instantaneous, it should be like something like that. Maybe I forgot just how bad the Forbidden 5 and Thunderfang were. Because that was like the big criticism of the season, Dragon's Rising Season 3, was that Thunderfang and the Forbidden 5 were underwhelming villains, and that is absolutely correct. I mean, I'm not going to contest that, especially in Dragon's Rising Season 3 Part 2. They were basically like not even characters. Like, they literally weren't even there. They weren't as strong, but honestly, like, I felt like the hype around the Forbidden 5 was a little bit forced. Like, I'd go into Ninjago forums and I'd see like all these memes, Forbidden 5, here's my headcanon on Rock, Nox, whatever. I'm like, I don't know. The way that I view like Dragon's Rising is that like there's so many different subplots that are going around. I say going around like it's like a virus or something. But there's so many different like subplots at play that are like coexisting and overlapping with each other at the same time. It's like, I felt like Dragon's Rising Season 3 to me was very much carried by the plots with like Aaron and Ross and Evil J and, you know, Kai and Wildfire I thought were really cool. And Frack, I love him as a character and love seeing him develop and all that. So those subplots really carried for me despite the Forbidden 5 and Thunderfang being lacking. Because overall, like, people talk about the Land of Lee. I don't think people really like the Land of Lee stuff. That's the initial impression that I got upon looking at like the Ninjago community. Probably because of that musical, and honestly, yeah, okay, that musical number was like pretty cringy. But the conversation that Sora has with Lee, where he like explains his whole like anime backstory about loneliness, I thought that was so amazing. They should have sort of like drawn it out that way. I feel like had hints and clues and things that like Lee says talking to himself about loneliness, and like there is only Lee and Lee and Lee and stuff like that that could have like better hinted towards that. But oh dude, that conversation went so hard. That plot hit so hard to me. Because like, okay, like, I've been feeling like, you know, since I graduated high school, a lot of my friends just kind of screwed off to just go do their own things. It's kind of how it is after you graduate high school. Keep your friends as close as you can, because once you graduate high school, like, it's kind of what happens, is that they, like, cease to exist. Seriously, like, once you get out of high school, like, you have nobody. It is dead alone. That sounded really sad and doomerist. You can make friends. I've been making friends and stuff, but, yeah, welcome to the stream, Chicken Man. Dude, Chicken Man! Bro, I tried to call you to, like, hang out today. See, this is what I mean when I have no friends after high school. This dude has not answered my calls, bro. And now he joins the live stream chat? Nah, I'm just messing with you, Chicken Man. Nah, you're cool. You're a real one. I'm just being this way. Anyway, let me read the other chats that I got. And when you say there's more to Ross, like, I completely agree. That was, like, one of the big standouts for me in Season 3. It was like, yeah, Lord Ross was about my fourth favorite villain before going into Dragon's Rising Season 3. Like, I think my favorite is Garmadon. Garmadon is still probably my favorite villain, but I don't know, Lord Ross is really catching up. Lord Ross before Dragon's Rising Season 3 was, like, a fourth favorite behind, like, Pythor and Harumi, but now he's a close second. Because it's like with Ross, like, I feel like there's two things that can make a villain, like, really cool and really stand out, right? There's a villain just being extremely, like, ruthless and brutal, somebody that almost kind of, like, scares the viewer, somebody that intimidates the viewer, somebody who's just so, like, unfeeling and uncaring that it's almost like you want to see them die. Like, you want to see them violently die, get, like, ripped into shreds, right? So, like somebody like Kalmar, right? Where Kalmar has nothing, like, redeemable about him. He's just evil, and you want to see him get brutalized because of how terrible he is. And, I suck at this game. But then, B, you have the other type of villain, and that is somebody who actually has, like, a reasonable motive that you can understand, to the point where you almost gotta question, like, are they really, like, the bad guy here? You know, am I supposed to find this person as the bad guy? They actually have, like, some motive that, like, maybe you don't agree with, but you can kind of, like, understand. And Ross has both of those things in the same character, because on one hand, he's extremely brutal and ruthless, just on all these different fronts, especially in the end of Dragon's Rising Season 3 when he Spoiler warning, you should click off if you don't want spoilers. Spoiler warning. Okay, spoiler warning over. Especially when he, like, goes into the monastery and he's just beating the hell out of Geo. How do I get onto this platform? I failed to jump onto this platform like 10 times. When Ross, like, goes in there and he's terrorizing Geo and Frohickey and Rontu. He's like, when he says to Geo, like, just like those children you failed to protect. Like, that was so badass. That was so awesome. And he's beating them with the hammer. He sacrifices some random detective guy. He gets up and, like, eagerly tries to kill Sora and Aaron when they're in the underworld. Dude. So he's brutal. But then also, the merge presumably killed all of his people. Like, you can see why he would want to reverse it. He has a reasonable motive. It allegedly just killed everybody that he knew and loved. So, he has both of these things in one character. That's like, super rare. Oh yeah, here's another good thing about Ross, by the way, too. Part of, like, why he's one of my favorite villains now. I do genuinely believe his people died. And you know what? Maybe that could, like, not be true. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's so good with, like, manipulation and stuff. He manipulated Aaron and Sora and the rest of, and even, like, the audience to a degree on, like, everything that he's doing. I still do kind of believe him on, like, the whole, like, people being killed thing. But you don't know. That's the thing. That's, like, why Ross is, like, one of the coolest villains. Like, I legitimately just don't know if he's lying. He could have me fooled. I want Euphrasia to join the main team. I feel like they had, like, a missed opportunity when they didn't have Euphrasia join them, join, like, the ninja and stuff like that. I wish it was something like, hey, you know, what up, Buster? You got elemental powers. That means you can't be a Rider of Destiny, so scram, Buster, skedaddle, get out of town. You know, Aaron is the new Lloyd. Sora is the new Nia. Frack is the new Cole. Wildfire's the new Kai. Frohickey could be the new Zane, but probably not really. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, but they should have had Euphrasia become the new, like, Jay. The new, like, chatty, witty, sarcastic, and totally, like, joking character. That would have been great. Because I really liked Euphrasia. I thought she was a really cool character and had a lot of potential. I cannot for the life of me get through this damn level. It's always this one too. Every time I play Speedrun 4, it's always this stupid level. Because you have to jump on these, like, really narrowly, like, stupid ice cream cones. Damn it! I really want to, like, get moments to clip from my stream, and I don't want all of my stream clips to take place on this damn level. I want to get out of here. I need to lock in. Alright, hold up. Generational lock-in. Okay, here we go. Yo! Let's go! Oh! No! Damn it! I saw somebody talking about the relationship between Zane and Pixel, and as a ship name, he used Zanal. Like Zane and Pixel, it's Zanal. Like, it was so funny. People in the comments were even like, dude, what the hell is that ship name? After Dragon's Rising, so I want the merge to be permanent, just purely for, like, all of the interesting things that you can do. Like, you have several different afterlife dimensions that are kind of, like, merged into one. You have all these different, like, new places, new laws of physics, and all that, new powers. It's like a whole new world to explore with endless possibilities on the amount of things that you can do with that. Whereas Ninjago, it's like, it felt like they were kind of just like coming up with a lot of, like, BS, you know? You'd have the desert, you'd have, like, Torchfire Mountain and, like, the Fire Temple and the Caves of Despair and Ninjago City and a bunch of other places. But then, like, suddenly Shintaro exists up in the mountains, and suddenly Merlopia exists, and we've just, like, never heard about these places, and there's no reason why they should exist or whatever. Like, why didn't people know about, like, Merlopians? Why was it, like, almost never mentioned? But now, like, with the merge, it's like, okay, there actually is, like, a reason why, like, people wouldn't really know anything about the land and why new locations would just, like, keep popping up. There's so much, like, new stuff to explore with the merged lands. And so many cool opportunities for, like, different stories to happen. So that's the direction they gotta go with, having the merge be permanent. And I think what they should do after the events of Dragon's Rising is, like I was saying, like, pass on the torch to the new characters. So they got to get Euphrasia as a part of the team for her to be the sort of, like, witty, sarcastic, you know, electric, energetic, like Jay type character. Because, like I said earlier, like, Lloyd is Aaron, Sora is Nia, Frack is Cole, Wildfire is Kai, Frohickey could be Zane. I don't know about that one, whatever. Lloyd is Sensei Wu. I think Lloyd being the sensei and being kind of like middle-aged and stuff like that would be really cool. Imagine after Dragon's Rising in the new series, the opening scene is like Lloyd, he's like middle-aged or whatever, or at least like in his 30s, and he's teaching Aaron the art of the silent fist, just like, you know, what his dad taught to him in season 3, and what he practiced in Hunted. Like, okay, that would just be so cool. That'd be so cool. Or that's where I think Ninjago should really go after Dragon's Rising, is doing something like that. And the other characters, like, okay, I saw a headcanon back when Season 8 came out from somebody who wanted to, like, really deeply separate the old ninja from, like, the new ninja and, like, the new timeline. Like, I saw that this one person had that in their headcanon, Season 8's design changes really was caused by the time shenanigans, like with Wu and the Time Twins, and that from Season 8 onward, we are just seeing this new timeline branching off of where things originally were. And in their headcanon, or I guess fan canon, because it contradicts the show, there exists a whole other timeline where Season 8 didn't happen and the ninja without Wu just all became demigods. Like, they kept accumulating different powers, like air jitsu and creating the dragon, and they learn creation and all this stuff. They learn all these new powers gradually over time and just become like protectors of the entire like universe or something like that. And they become sort of gods, and like that's the future reflections in the first Ninjutsu Master's Tomb in Season 5, that's what they look like as those gods. And, you know, obviously that theory is incorrect. Tommy Andreasen has said that it's still, like, the same character, same timeline, and whatever. Yeah, okay, so how that factors into this is that I want, after Dragon's Rising, the new ninja, or Aaron, Sora, Wildfire, Frack, Euphrasia, and Lloyd is the sensei who presides over them, and the other characters just kind of get retired, and they go, like, sort of to, like, the outskirts of the merged lands, or they have their own purposes. Cole handles the Land of Lost Things. Kai handles a different part. Jay and Nia live together the way that we saw in, like, their future reflections and everything like that in Season 5. They all have their different purposes. They've all evolved. Their powers are stronger. They have grander things to do. Whereas the main ninja hold down the fort from, like, most of the villains for the time being. And then, you know, the old ninja could come back and make, like, occasional appearances and stuff like that. That's what I want them to do after Dragon's Rising. Or, even better than that, after Dragon's Rising, I want them to make a prequel series that completely irons out the whole timeline. Like, just gives it to us on a silver platter. But there's so many things that either, like, contradict or just don't really make sense, or things that I wish we could have seen. Like the Serpentine War. I think they made comics of Wu and Garmadon, and you know, like the Spinjitzu Brothers stuff. They made a Shatterspin comic. They made one about the Serpentine War. But I want them to make a prequel series to Ninjago that's just called Long Before Time Had a Name. That's the title of the series, and it should just do exactly that.